Okay, well, hope you all doing well. Today is Saturday, May 23rd, and I'm starting to decal this pink Ford Ecoboost that Matt Kenseth drove to Victory Lane in Talladega. Of course, it's available in 124 scale, but not in 164 scale. None of his 2012 Ecoboost paint schemes, whether the white one or the black one or this pink one, did Lionel make for Matt Kenseth in 2012, which to me is really surprising, especially the fact that he won this race. But you know, they have their agendas, they have their deals and sponsors and whomever. But yeah, so all these Ford Ecoboost paint schemes in 2012 are paint schemes that I've made and enjoy making for collectors. So real quick, I've kind of set aside the decals that I want to put on the car first. First order of business is really this hood decal, which it's important that you paint the cowl first, and this one's going to go right up here. It's going to butt up against that black cowl, and then the rest going to fold down there. The seam is going to be covered by this grill, so you don't have to worry about that at all. So you put that on first, and then this piece here will go down on the front, the very front, curve it across this front bumper there. And then all these other pieces go on the sides, the back. The back I've had to trim ever so slightly here. Let's see if I can show you this. So the back decal is big, like most of them are, unfortunately. But you kind of have to trim it down in order for it to fit and not overlap too much onto this this back window. So you kind of have to trim it very nicely to get it into place. And if I have a little bit of extra, I'll roll it up onto the spoiler, and then I'll go back and I'll paint over top of that very carefully. But I don't think I will. I think it'll turn out really nice. So before, well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and dip these and get these going. Looking forward tomorrow for the Coca-Cola 600. Matt got 10th place at Darlington, first race back, but then he didn't do so hot on Wednesday night. A couple laps down. Just had a couple of little run-ins on the track, and so I'm hoping that he can get back to a top 10 at Charlotte. This would be his third race back, and he should be getting up to speed here and start being more competitive, trying to run consistently in the top 10 and run consistently there, and then work his way up into the top 5. I mean, that's what he's getting paid to do. He's got great equipment, and obviously with racing you need great equipment, you need great pit stops, you need great skill at the driver position, but you also need some luck, and I'm hoping that he gets that, or at least he doesn't get any bad luck. That's kind of what unfortunately happens from time to time. So alright, I'll let that sit there. Wanted to show you again just kind of what I do to make sure that when I'm applying the decals, and I'm kind of doing the best I can. I'm going to take this little paintbrush over here. So I've got a picture of the car up on my computer screen here. Just a couple things to note about. Everything's good here. I've got all these decals here. You notice this is a little bit different than what I get from Pattos, but that's hardly noticeable. There's 3 here on the decal sheet. There's 4. All these decals are good. You've got this here. The one thing that is missing, though, and this is just a little pet peeve of mine, it's hard to kind of tell, but on this Fusion that goes way down here at these restrictor plate races, if you can see that, it's black with a pink outline. and unfortunately the decal set from Pattos has it black with a white outline. So I'm going to come over here and show you guys. If I can find it. Let's see, where are you? I'm looking for the Fusion decal, and I must have misplaced it. Here, I'm going to switch hands here for a second. Okay, she's not there. Where is she? Alright, now I could have done something really bad and thrown it away. Actually, I need to keep these on. So sometimes I will do that inadvertently, and so I got to try to find it. Not sure I'm going to bore you guys with this, but yeah, just I guess one lesson to be learned is when you're cutting out the decal set, be careful to make sure you get everything that you need. All right, I'll look for that and I'll find it. If I don't find it, I've got some spare decals that would be something that I can use. Yeah, this is my go-to drink, the Full Throttle, just the original. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's a citrus flavor. If I need to pick me up, I'll usually chug one of those, and then what I'll do, and that's what's in there now, is I'll fill it up with water. I don't want my teeth to rot, so I'll fill that up with water and drink that. So yeah, that's kind of my go-to energy drink or soda, whatever you want to call it. Okay, let's see. One other thing I'll show you. I was working on this Jeremiah weed car. Just about done with it. I've got a couple coats of sealer on it. I've got a little tiny bit of touch-up to do on this back area where the decal and butts up against the spoiler. There's a little bit of yellow showing through, so I just need to run a little bit of black there to bridge that gap. And yeah, so you can see this is turning out pretty good. I need another coat or two of the white across the very lower part of the front valence there. And I don't know if you can see this, but one of the difficult things to do that I just did was I got a little bit of black on my finger, black paint, somehow, whether it was from underneath or from the side or whatever, but it had rubbed off my finger ever so slightly, and it got a little bit on this 7 right here, on the white portion, and that's not good, right? Paint on a decal that's not sealed is bad. So what I did was I took a little tiny bit of this paint thinner. I got it on my finger, and I just rubbed across like this, ever so slightly and quickly. And of course, there was just a little bit of paint on it, so it came off real quick. And so what I did was I then wiped it all off, because the paint thinner, if it's left on the decal, will just chew it up. And so I wiped it all off very quickly. I got some water on my brush, and I cleaned off as much as I could. So there's no damage to the decal, and the paint was removed. And it did take a little bit of the black off of down here, but that's fine. I can repaint over top of that, no problem. Yeah, sometimes you have to do that. But again, if you got paint on a decal, I recommend, of course, always wash my hands with soap and water, non-lotion based soap. Get a little bit of the paint thinner on your finger, just enough to wet it, right? Not dripping, but just enough to get the surface wet. And then just go real fast, wipe it wipe it dry and clean. Get some water on it to clean it off. Make sure that the decal is still in place. It's a large decal, so that helps. If I'm doing a small one, that's a little bit more risky. But because it was a little bit of black on the white 7, it was obvious, and I didn't want that mar to be there, so I was able to clean that off. Yeah. So that's coming along pretty good. It's Saturday. I may be done with that tomorrow, and I might be able to list it Sunday night on eBay. That's another eBay car. This Ecoboost, pink Ecoboost, is a custom request, so that's not going to be listed. All right, let's get some of these on the car here, and I'll just do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and place these two on this roof decal. Again, I had to kind of round the front, so it would kind of conform to the front lip here, just ever so slightly around it, because you do not want that drip down on top of this this windshield. And it takes a very steady hand to do that, because if you miscut that, if you cut it too much, it's going to look horrible. And then if you try to piece the decals together, it's going to look really bad. You know, you kind of, so-called measure twice, cut once. You look at it very carefully, see how much you want to trim off the edges, and ever so slightly trim it. And it'll come out good. Get some of the excess water off of here. And let's see. Trying to get the water out from underneath the decal as much as possible, because sometimes it will dry and it will create a little bubble raised surface there, which is not something you want. You want to get all those little air bubbles out. A long time ago, we bought a new car, and let me try to do the math here. So we bought the new car in 2010, and as a new vehicle, brand new vehicle from the dealership, I wanted to put a clear bra on the front of the car, so it was something that would go on and protect the very front end of the car from any little rocks or sand that get kicked up over time, and obviously from bugs as you're driving on the interstate or whatever. And the kit was a nice kit, but you had to put it on with some, you had to make your own like little spray, like a kind of a soapy water spray, and then they gave you this this little squeegee that you would squeegee out the bubbles and get the clear film to line up nicely on the paint. And that took me a number of hours doing that, and it's kind of funny because that's kind of what this process is. You're getting the bubbles out, and you're making sure that it's going to dry nice and flat against the surface of the car. And so, and it's funny because I did that right before I started making customs. And so that same type of mentality comes over to doing these little guys. Of course, it was a Ford. Pretty much a Ford guy with my vehicles. They're probably not the best company out there that makes cars. There's a bunch of people argue all the time, but I have to be honest with you. I've owned a number of Fords in my life, and I've never been disappointed. Never been disappointed. Reliability has been solid, and it's not a Lexus. It's we're a Toyota Corolla that lasts 300,000 miles or whatever those crazy things last. But it's American, American company. Yeah, they make some stuff in Mexico and Canada, but it's it's American-based company, and just tied in with them. Since the very first Ford I owned was a 1990 Ford Ranger, and boy, I love that truck, little V6, and that kind of got me hooked. From then on, I was pretty much stuck with Ford. And of course, when Matt Kenseth came into NASCAR, and he was driving a Ford, and I had already owned some DeWalt tools and stuff. Ugh, that was a no-brainer. He was my guy, even though I didn't know him from Adam. But yeah, that's where my allegiance lies. So this'll be pretty good. I think this will kind of curve down in there, on that little lip there. See, I'm kind of shoving that little extra down in there as opposed to back here. And so that'll, suppose it's sticking up on the windshield, just a little bit curvature there. And I'm kind of checking this, these lines here, they're not going to be perfect, but I'm trying to line them up as best as possible down here. And if you can see that. But it looks pretty good. You're trying to center everything, making things symmetrical and straight. And crooked stuff, Do things, give a little bit extra attention to detail, and they'll turn out really good. Okay, one thing that's interesting about this decal set is these things. I've looked in the pictures a number of times. These little things that go in the back here, and I'm sorry that I have to adjust the camera, but they're not at the bottom. It's kind of raised up ever so slightly like that. It's like that. And this will probably slide on me, but that's okay. Yeah. It's weird. I looked at the pictures once again, and it's ever so slightly. Yes. So I'm trying to get it a little bit off here, so this is kind of like almost like a straight line with this lower part, but it doesn't always match up with this fender here. So kind of just split the difference, like so. Since I'm over here, let's do this one. This big side decal. I pre-painted those. Whoop. I pre-painted the. All right, come up here. And I got a little dry there. I'm going to dip it ever a little bit in the water here. Pre-painted the side skirts here. Lining it up, it's just a little bit off the bottom where these things go. But yeah, just get that done. If I need to touch it up later, I will. But I like to pre-paint as much as I can. And I cut this a little bit here because it's a little big and it wraps around ever so slightly. Yeah, one of the disappointing things, as you can see, I mean, this little opening here for the jack, it's over here on the diecast body. I mean, it's way off, but it's on the decal. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way it is, I mean, I could really paint over top of it, but I'd have to paint it, and the decal is a little bit of a different shade of black, than the paint, and so I mean it would look dumb. It would look dumb. So I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, and it's the way it's gonna be. So I don't do a super long video today, but just wanted to show you what's going into this pink Ecoboost, and I'll continue putting these decals on this car, and if you're out there want to try to make one of these, my paint is the Rust-Oleum Berry Pink. That's this color, and I don't think it's a perfect match to what he drove, but it's pretty darn good. I think it's pretty close. This is a 2012 Lionel diecast decal set from Pattos. Yeah, fun little project to undertake if you're up for it. Let me do a couple more here. Put these sides on. And the matte Kenseth signature. I like it when the signature is going on a darker car, and his signature is white. That's kind of cool to me. Looks good. And then we have these little Nascar race car decals. I like to put these on after I put the side decal on, because sometimes you can bring them a little bit lower. Sometimes this decal is a little bit higher, and you have to size it or position it correctly. So I get that placed there. And this is a little goofy decal here on these cars. They have these little, I don't know what this is, but this little decal here goes on this C-pillar back here, and I don't know, it's just weird. Not too many cars have these little area where they have this, and it doesn't say anything, it's just right there. I don't know. Whatever. I put the decals on the car as they come, and I'm not sure what that, it doesn't even go anywhere or do anything. It just sits there, black and white stripe along the side. And they got it along here and here. What is this? I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, so that's coming along pretty good. One of my purchases today was I bought this Rust-Oleum here. It's a gray satin stone gray paint, and I'm gonna use it because I think it matches as best as it can to that shade of gray there. I haven't used this before. I was trying to, in past when I made this GameStop Evolve car, I would do I would mix the gray and try to get it to match, but I think, at least according to the cap, that matches pretty good. And so I'm gonna tape it off, and I'm gonna paint this area gray and this back area here with some of the tape, and just because everything else is black basically. So I'll do that, and we'll see how it turns out. I definitely like to spray if you can spray. It's just, it's a much more uniform and smooth finish after you do it. So yeah, so I'll do that, try that. I have this other primer, gray, but it's a little bit of a different shade than this. I think this is closer. I have some other gray paints, but they really don't come close to this. So yeah, that's what's going on, and just another joyful day, making some customs, and just enjoying my hobby. And Terry, I got your message the other day. I'm making these. Was it today? Maybe today. These two are next for you, Terry, and I'll start those here probably. What's today? Saturday. I'll probably start those Monday morning, and drill them out and dip them and get them moving. So those will be fun. I'll videotape those as well, because those have unique challenges, those special Penske schemes. So, all right, you guys have a blessed day. We'll talk to you soon.